Alright, this is going to be a quick video, just giving my predictions on who's going to be released in the upcoming weeks from the WWE. They're having their annual so-called spring cleaning. It was reported that 10 to 12 superstars might lose their jobs. And just, losing your job is horrible, but it's something they do every year to get the SCW talent a spot on the roster. So, I'm just going to give my predictions on who might be released. I have 11 superstars here, and yeah, here we go. First superstar is Kurt Hawkins. Reason? He has done literally nothing since Vance Archer has been released, and I don't think there's any shot in hell Vance Archer is getting re-signed, so unless they team Kurt Hawkins up with Trent Beretta, they're not gonna do anything with him. So chances of him getting released are very high. Next superstar is David Hart Smith. Ever since breaking up the Hart Dynasty, he hasn't been on any show, I don't think. He might be on Superstars, but I don't watch that. I don't think he's been on Superstars. He's just had nothing to do at all. And it's being reported that he wants to do kind of like an MMA thing, so he might get released. Then the next two, Jimmy and Jay Uso, the Usos. Another tag team that wasted talent. They've done nothing, though, and failed to connect with the audience. They're just there anymore, so they might get released. JTG, again, another tag team that just didn't need a split with him and Shad. They were their most over tag team, and honestly, in my opinion, that was that is when the tag division in WWE was officially dead. Like, before that, it was just a bad tag division. Crime Time was really the only legitimate tag team you had, them and the Hart Dynasty. But then you split them up, and that was it. Your tag division, dead. So with Shad gone now, I see JTG leaving this year. Melina, obvious reasons. She's a bitch backstage. She was a bitch at WrestleMania. She's a bitch, period. She is... If she gets re-signed... You know what? I actually hope she gets re-signed. Because, with the reports of Amazing Kong, or now called Karma, or, whatever, Kia Stevens is her real name, I think, that's how I pronounce it, beating the balls off with a love sponge at a TNA event, I hope to God Melina gets re-signed, mouths off to her, and then she just beats the piss out of Melina. That would be hilarious. But I don't see that happening since I see her being released. Next guy to be released is Michael Tarver. What has he done since his injury / Nexus breakup? Nothing. He's just been backstage on a cell phone looking at people. And he hasn't even been doing this anymore. So, yeah, he might get released. Next diva is Rosa Mendez. Again, just hasn't done anything other than bits with Hornswoggle a couple months ago. But even that's dead now. She hasn't been doing anything in a while, so she might get released. Todd Grisham has been demoted from a commentator to a backstage interviewer to basically nothing anymore. He has little spots here and there as a backstage interviewer, but even now Matt Striker's doing that, so he might get released. Another guy is Trent Beretta. Again, unless they tag him up with Kurt Hawkins, he ain't going to be doing anything. And just another guy who failed to connect with the audience. No one cares about him. He might get released. And then the final superstar is Tyler Rex. No one buys him as this monster, sadistic thing that you want us to buy him as. His look is horrible. He's horrible. Has no charisma. He is most likely getting released. So yeah, these are the 11 superstars that I see being released. Other names thrown out, like bigger names like Drew McIntyre, Kofi Kingston, and Ted DiBiase, I don't think there's any shot in hell of them getting released. Ted DiBiase, I think they just have nothing for him at the moment. Honestly, I see them drafting him to SmackDown. Honest to God. Same with Evan Bourne and Daniel Bryan. I see them drafting them three to SmackDown. And letting them have, fresh starts. And even Zack Ryder, too. I don't see any of them getting released. I just see them as having nothing for them at the moment. If they draft them to SmackDown, which I hope to God they do for all four of them, give them a fresh start, I think we'll see better, more of them. if they are on SmackDown. So I don't think they're getting released. And Kofi Kingston and Drew McIntyre, I don't know where they came from. Kofi Kingston's name was popped up because originally he wasn't on the WrestleMania card, and merchandise sales have gone down like, I don't know, something percent, and there hasn't been any new merchandise for him. Yeah, I will admit I thought he might get released too, but since they took Vladimir Kozlov off the card in favor of Kofi Kingston, I doubt he's being released. He might get drafted. I hope to God he gets drafted to Raw. Just, again, another fresh start. I usually don't say that for guys going to Raw, but he kind of needs it. Because nowadays, with them just rushing through feuds anymore, they kind of used him up on SmackDown with Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler, Jack Swagger. They could have booked the feud with Drew McIntyre so much better. They actually did book that pretty well for the 2 months they had it. But then the feud with Dolph Ziggler happened for way too long, and just, it wouldn't have felt so long if they didn't have match after match after match. If they actually built it up properly, instead of just having a match on SmackDown, another match on SmackDown, another match on SmackDown, a match at a pay-per-view, a rematch on SmackDown, another match on SmackDown, etc. If they would have built that up properly, it would have been a little bit better. Then you had, a feud with Jack Swagger that went absolutely nowhere. A feud with Del Rio, he's pretty much done it all on SmackDown, except being a main eventer. And I don't see that happening with Alberto Del Rio and Christian in the main event right now, so he kind of needs to go to Raw. But, again, even if he doesn't, I don't see him getting released. They just have nothing for him. And same with Drew McIntyre. He most likely will be drafted to Raw. This is pretty much a safe bet. He literally has done everything there is to do on SmackDown, except, of course, being the main event. But I see him going to Raw. And maybe being paired with Sheamus or somebody. I don't know. I see them having plans for Drew McIntyre in the future on Raw. I just see them as kind of wasting time until the draft. So yeah, I don't think there's any shot in hell Zack Ryder, Ted DiBiase, Evan Bourne, and Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston, or Drew McIntyre is getting released. But as for the 11 superstars that I just named, yeah, there's a high shot they're getting released. But if anybody, I hate to say that I wish people lose their jobs, but if people are going to lose their jobs, these are 11 superstars that I think should. Out of everybody else in the roster, these probably should, except for maybe Hornswoggle. If Hornswoggle's released, I'll be happy. But unfortunately, the dumbass 5-year-old kids in the audience love him, so he's not getting released. The Great Khali is huge in Indy, it's insane. A riot broke out because he wasn't there for an autograph signing, so that's insane. So I don't see him being released. And guys like Mark Henry and Goldust and Chavo, they're veterans. They're getting ready to retire. Goldust and Mark Henry already said they only have 2 to 3 years left in them. Maybe, so they're getting ready to retire. And Chavo, I don't see Chavo getting released. He jobs, yeah, but I don't think he minds. I think he's actually a guy, I think he actually said it, that he doesn't mind jobbing. He wants to build new superstars. See, he had his moment, and now it's, a younger guy. He needs to step up.